Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine and I'm here with Regina Charbonneau, the culinary director and food ambassador for American Queen Voyages. We've had her on the show before. She was one of the top 10 videos of last year, and we are going to talk about how American Queen Voyages is reinventing itself, and leading the way is the culinary, I think. And this is Insider Travel Report. Regina, thank you for talking to us.
Oh, it's great to be with you. It's been fun, this little reunion on the Mississippi River.
Right.
So
but things are different now. So you've been involved with American Queen Voyages for a while, but let's talk about how has your position changed?
Well, originally I was with them many years ago and helped create the original menus. And then I had other businesses in Natchez and restaurants and Twin Oaks, and I became more of an excursion. The guest for years came off the boat to my house. So I've always had a connection and stayed very much in touch with American Queen. And then with COVID, I semi-retired, and I always say I spent 40 years, people would invite me to do something, and when you had, had 7 restaurants, and for 40 years I'd have to say, oh, I wish I could, and they called me and said, hey, I've got this idea, do you want to come be our culinary ambassador? We really want to start changing some things up, and we want the food to have more of a sense of place, which is something I've always cared about. We've talked about my book, Mississippi Current, is food from the headwaters to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm very much about bringing, if you're going to be on the Mississippi River, you should have the ingredients and the agriculture and the cultural influences. Now this year, the big focus is to incorporate all that knowledge into the menus. And this morning I got up at 5 and I was working on menu, ideas for the Empress. And so I start going through and going, no, we're not going to do gumbo on the Columbia River. And I started...
Well, let's explain. So the Empress is one of the ships that's not on the Mississippi. So it's got to be part of place. Right. We are right now on American Queen. We should say this. Yes. We're on the inaugural voyage of the 12th season for this boat, which is the largest functioning paddle wheel on the Mississippi. We're going to play a little game show. I'm going to show Regina food that I ate during the trip, and she's going to tell me the history of what I already ate.
Oh,
okay,
I love that.
Here we go.
Yes.
So
okay.
First one.
Okay. All right, chicken pantable. We do that. The first night I talk about the history of the French influence settling, the French settled New Orleans. And this dish I love because to me it's classic New Orleans. And this dish was made popular by the Brennans at Brennan's restaurant in the 1950s. But it actually made its way to almost every fine dining restaurant in New Orleans at one time or another. It's fabulous. It's a potato hash with smoked ham and then penne chicken breast, fried in butter with béarnaise on top. It's a delicious, really. Oh, and mushrooms in the hash.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, moving to the next one. You can stop.
Oh, I see.
You don't
yes.
have to.
Well, I see the d'auberge cake.
Oh, let's talk about it.
And the d'auberge cake is a traditional New Orleans cake, and we actually buy that and bring it on the boat for the first night when we're in New Orleans. Again, we're trying so hard to have a sense of place, and that is a dessert that always meant a lot to me for holidays, special occasions. It's 7 layers. It's so good. They do several flavors. It's made at Gambino's Bakery, and we bring it on board and people get the real experience. Okay, I loved our first day, our jazz brunch, and it was so much food it's hard to even focus, but one of my favorite dishes that I've been doing for years is my andouille hash with corn cakes. And andouille sausage was developed by the German butchers who settled outside of New Orleans, so it's a perfect dish and a great brunch dish, so love that. So the goat cheese souffle, actually that recipe came from our hotel director. which I love because I'm trying to really engage our staff to feel good about everything we're doing. And if they have an idea that good that we can execute, hey, we put it on the buffet that day and it was fabulous. The other thing that I loved that day was they have gotten my butter biscuits down. The pastry chefs here, they're doing an amazing job. And so we did my brown sugar bacon on my butter biscuit with a little blackberry jam. I thought it was
I got to
really
tell you,
good.
our table couldn't get enough of it. That and the souffle that day, we were all to the gills.
Yes, good. Just what we want. Now this is the arancini, which is a Sicilian rice ball made with risotto and cheese, and we put lobster in it, and then we gave it a little New Orleans twist with the remoulade underneath. But this is a perfect example of the Sicilian influence in New Orleans. They originally came during the citrus trade, and they came directly from Sicily to New Orleans for many generations. And we have a huge Sicilian population that had a major impact on New Orleans cuisine. So I'm very excited about incorporating that into our menus.
And what is this?
Okay, this is an idea I had. This is a lobster corn dog. So we were trying to think of one, I'm trying to incorporate lobster in one way or another throughout the menu, throughout the week. But I'm trying to do a different twist. Now this one is an appetizer, and I thought it was a really good concept. It didn't come out quite like I wanted.
But you keep going. You fix that thing.
But I keep going, I don't stop.
Yeah.
And I think we will just continue to improve it because I think people love the concept of it. And the corn breading was great, but I've got to get the better balance between the corn and the lobster.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just think a lobster a day keeps the doctor away. So keep.
Yeah, do you
help
think
us
so?
for
Yeah,
health
that's our
purposes.
motto.
Yeah.
We've got T-shirts coming. Yes. Okay. This is the tarte tatin, which is classic French, wonderful dessert made with caramelized apples and pastry. And that was just a big hit that night. And I love it. My son, Jean-Luc, who's now 33, when he was a baby, that was one of his first words. He loved the sound of it. We had a little cafe in San Francisco we went to, and it was so cute. He would go, tarte tatin, tarte tatin. So I can't help but love this dessert.
Well, I just like the consistency. It was rich, thick, and chewy.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the lobster Rockefeller, which I love this dish. The only thing is a little miscommunication. You see how it's still in the shell? We actually now are taking it out of the shell, just leaving the tail on and spreading it out, which is really pretty, and then putting the Rockefeller on top of the lobster because, let's be honest, there's no lobster in the Mississippi River, but oysters Rockefeller is the standard. Mm-hmm. And so I just came up with this, and I thought it was just a lot of fun and really tasty. So
No, I could use the help on getting it out. So
yes, so no, we've got that simplified now. And this is the cocoa van pot pie with my bacon time biscuit crust, and seemed very popular. I don't know, did you try that?
I did. Well, I like. There's two things about your food. It's whether you like the food, but also whether you like the concept and the name. And the concepts are always great. And then as you refine them, to get better. And just the idea of coq au vin as a pot pie.
Yes.
Lobster corn dog. This is what I admire most.
Thank you. And now, this is kind of day one. And as you do it, then even as a chef, I have an idea, but it takes a little bit to refine it. Okay, this bread pudding with bourbon sauce. We've really upped the game on this, the presentation. So we do caramelized sugar, and it looks like glass, and we have a shard of that in it. This one's laying flat, so it doesn't do it justice.
Although I took that away from the table and sucked on it for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Oh.
And then we do sugared pecans, and the way we do them, they kind of stand straight up. Mm-hmm. Anyway, great presentation and an always pleasing taste. How can you go wrong with,
it was good.
Bread pudding with the caramelized bourbon sugar sauce. When I did my biscuit demo, I served my bourbon coffee punch, which has rum and bourbon. It's really good, very popular. It was quite the demo when people are sipping on coffee bourbon punch while I make biscuits, and then they eat biscuits.
Go ahead.
So this crawfish pastry that we do, we call it crawfish atchafalaya, because they're still catching crawfish and selling them to restaurants from the Atchafalaya Basin, although there are a lot that are farm raised in the Delta. And this came to the table, and I remember, and I go, wait, you need more sauce. And do you remember that I ordered more?
Yeah,
so we have the pastry, we have the sauce, we have the crawfish. You just need enough of all of it to work.
And it was good.
But it's lovely. Yeah, people really like that dish. No, it's funny. I think this was one of the most popular dishes overall. And again, I've got to work on the presentation. This is my catfish with smoked tomato coulis and a black eyed pea vinaigrette.
It was good.
And I'm got to work on a little bit. We didn't have cornmeal, and so we kind of improvised, but now we have cornmeal. And this is a pineapple cornbread, upside down cornbread. I want to, make it round. So work on this presentation, but this is a great dish.
All right, so tell us about the rum cake.
So rum cake, and we usually serve it with a little shot of rum, but we were so busy this cruise, we didn't have enough little shot glasses, and they make these things now, whether you want to put chocolate sauce or whatever. And of course I'm going, let's fill it with rum. Mm-hmm. And then, so you get it, and you squeeze it into the rum cake. It was a huge hit.
So that became my lollipop.
Yes, people love that. They were squeezing it right into their mouths.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, our buffets, I think when we do our brunch and our lunch buffets, we're really trying to step up. And this was beautiful. This was yesterday, and the Gulf shrimp, I have to say the kitchen cooked them perfectly, and they were abundant. We had some beautiful seasoned gravlax with dill and pepper, and beautiful charcuterie trays. And also I don't know if you had the beet salad with blue cheese and pickled onion, and my mouth's watering. It was really great yesterday.
What am I hearing about this relationship with America's Test Kitchen?
Gosh, America's Test Kitchen has been around for a long time. It's an amazing company. I mean, they have everything. They have magazine, Cook's Country, and beautiful magazines. They have a great online presence and the TV shows. But what they are, they test their recipes like 30 times. They are totally geared to the home cook. But I love what they do because they're exactly that, America's Test Kitchen. They know all of America. The way I have tried to pull in a sense of place, which we're so much about, it's a perfect partnership. And we will be working on some great things this year because they know all of America, and we have, how many rivers do we touch? Quite a few, because it's the Snake and the Columbia and the Ohio, and so...
Well, it's a perfect match from your point of view, but from their point of view, it's a perfect match because of where you touch.
Yes, exactly. And so I just think it's going to be an amazing collaboration. I've been to Boston to meet with them, and I am so excited. So I think I'm excited about everything we're doing right now. I think when people come to see us and travel with American Queen Voyages, the idea is that they're going to really get an immersion of the culture of where we are. That's been my goal with food. That's the vision with shore excursions. The music even is very important that we touch on that. So I think it's going to be a pretty swell experience for people when they travel with us.
Well, these itineraries were already full of history. You just brought it into the dining room as well.
Yes, and the cocktails too, the drinks and the cooking demonstrations. So,
but you came up with like 7 new
cocktails for the lower Mississippi, and so we have different cocktails for the Pacific Northwest. And I mean, we're not taking this lightly. I mean, this is a serious vision. And now it's, like anything you do, it's going to take a little bit to, go through a couple of bumps because sometimes ideas are great. From a culinary aspect, I can think about something like a lobster corn dog. And then you go, well,
if you fry a lobster, corn dog, and cornmeal, does it come off? And so I'm working on all of that.
We know just from the reason that you're the biscuit queen is because you had all these happy accents making this recipe year after year. The whole idea that, you know, I had to freeze them because it was expedient, then it was better. I mean, you do that with every recipe, even the ones that you know very well.
Yes, and that's what I love about America's Test Kitchen. They just keep at it, and their recipes work really well. So just to work together, I know that it's going to be amazing and that the guests are going to benefit.
Do you feel like, I mean, the food was always good on American Queen. Could travel advisors send foodies?
Yes, absolutely. And we are, what do you consider like the highest level of travel, luxury travel? We're approaching that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that we will get there for sure, but we are approaching it. And I think all of the ideas and the team and Cindy D'Aoust is amazing. In fact, she really has pulled me in to be more involved, and I'm excited.
I'm excited. So I wish you luck. I wish the cruise line luck. And I hope that all this has been helpful to all the travel advisors watching it. American Queen Voyages, 7 ships, river, lake, ocean, and expedition. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.